Hey everybody, this is Captain Fool reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Well, here we go. I've got my notes and I'm ready to rock. Let's first start with Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 3, where 51 out of 52 liked it with a 4.3 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, which, you know what? I gave it a pretty high score as well with a, here are my notes, 7.7. Yeah, 7.7. The writer is Benjamin Percy. The artist is Danny Kim. The Hood brings the Hellfire. I didn't think I'd like the Hood as a Ghost Rider, but it's actually a pretty cool spin here. The new Ghost Rider plans his bloody takeover of Chicago's criminal underworld, while Johnny Blaze is able to claw his way back. Yes, he is able to claw his way back from the brink of death and hopefully to reclaim the spirit of vengeance. It's good art in this issue, solid action too, and it continues to have good pacing. Once again, this is Ghost Rider Final Vengeance number 3. Ghost Rider fans, you should like this. I'm enjoying it, and I think you will too. Here to click my pen there as I'm getting my notes and all that. Let's talk about another Marvel book right away too. The sensational She-Hulk issue number 8. 73 out of 74 liked it with a 4.3 average rating, where that's higher than I gave it. I gave it a 7.1. It was actually better than I expected, though. I'll give it credit there where credit's due. Rainbow Rowell is the writer. The artist is Andres Genolet, which I probably butchered. The conclusion of She-Hulk and Jack of Hearts special epic is here. Your heart is not ready for this issue. The action will get your heart pumping just in time for us to break it. I wouldn't go that far, but it is a pretty good issue. There is some more development between the couple of She-Hulk and Jack of Hearts. Decent art, decent pacing, decent action. You notice the theme there? Everything is decent. That seems to be the problem I have with this. And I'm not saying it's a terrible book, but it just keeps running as decent. It could be better, just a little bit, maybe better art, maybe a little bit better writing with a little bit more balance of action. It could be a better book. What are your thoughts on this one? I would really like to know. This next one, this is in my opinion a must read, even if you're not a fan of G.I. Joe, and that's Cobra Commander number 5. Boy, have I been enjoying this series, but I'm not alone. 160 out of 160 liked it with a 4.4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. That's pretty awesome. I gave the book, you ready? An 8.4. And for me to be in the 8s, that's pretty good because 7 is average. So anything above 7 is above average. 8s, we're getting into territory where I think you should get the book, most definitely. And if it hits a 9, it's even if you don't read it. And by the way, it has some alternate covers for this. That's really good too. The writer's Joshua Williamson, artist is Andra Milena, which if I butchered that, I apologize. This is, it says, the ending of the mini-series, which makes me sad. The rise of Cobra Commander to build an army is what he does in this. Cobra Commander makes a deal with a powerful ally that can't be trusted. Now that it's started, can the Cobra threat be stopped? It says this is the finale. I don't know if that's for sure. I hope not, because I really enjoyed this. It is another fantastic issue. Good art, great pacing. It's a must-read for G.I. Joe fans. Cobra Commander is building his power base in this issue. And I think it all culminates into this, showing how he got it all together. And I think that was a really nice spin on it. I really, really enjoyed this issue. And any G.I. Joe fan, I don't see how on earth you can miss this issue. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by my wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you everybody. And let's get back to the video. All right, next one I want to talk about is Blood Hunt number 2. I know not everybody's into this mini-series. I didn't really care much at first about getting into it, but I have been enjoying it. 182 out of 192 liked it with a 4.1 average rating, meaning that they're getting a pretty good rating from League of Comics Geeks as well. This is a part two of a 5-part series, and I gave it not bad. I gave it a 7.4. The writer is Jed MacKay and artist is Pepe Larraz, which, once again, if I butchered it, I do apologize. The vampires' first strike has laid low the world. Yeah, they kicked the Avengers' butts and everything else, but now it's a comeback. The Avengers are coming back to fight. Other people are joining into the hunt there. The Avengers strike back, and boy, they do a good job there. Miles Morales sucks, though. if you don't understand what I'm saying there, I'm not just doing a cheap shot of the character. See the last page. That's what I mean by that. Though I do say he's never been as good since he's been in the 616 universe. But anyway, what's going on with Blade in this series? Is this really Blade? Only one way to find out is to keep reading. Decent art, good action. It's pretty good pacing. Once again, 7.4, not bad. If you want to jump into this series, mini-series, yeah, it's probably okay. If not, I get it. You do what works for you, and that's perfectly fine. Speaking of another miniseries, I read Black Widow and Hawkeye issue number 3. 46 out of 53 liked it with a 3.7 rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave this book a 7.1, so not really far differences there. The writer is Stephanie Phillips, artist is Paolo Vanelli, and here's the problem. I just don't think it's good enough to say, hey people, you got to get this miniseries. It's just been okay. Hawkeye was poisoned, and the Black Widow symbiote that she's wearing, even though it didn't really want to, saves him, but then there's some side effects to that. We get that, and it's messing with Hawkeye mentally. There we go. Using the symbiote to save Hawkeye gave him some issues. What can I say? Clinton's in trouble. Can Natasha save him? Well, only time will tell. It really is decent art, decent story. The pacing, though, is a bit slow. We're not really moving the story very much with this issue, and that's one of the issues I have with it. Haha, pun intended. Moving my notes here to the side, grab my next note sheet there. As we get into the Amazing Spider-Man number 50. Now, this, number 50, you'd expect a lot. Yes, it's bigger. There's more to it. But 125 out of 155 liked it with a 3.6 average rating, which I think was a bit high. I gave it a 7, just a flat 7. The writer is Jed MacKay. There's also Lee Gatlin, and then Joe Kelly. Marv Wolfman did some, Nikisha Shakula, and then there's several artists too, like Chris Cross, Juan Ferreira. It really, I give it a 7 because I think that's what it is. It's just mid. Guess who's back? Everybody knew he was coming back. The Green Goblin. We all seen this coming. I really don't like how the whole sins thing came, how that whole storyline works, but it is what it is. He's back. He's green. But is it truly that simple? Well, only time will tell. Spidey and Gobby, the Green Goblins, if you will. Brutal fight is one for the ages, it says. Not really. It's a fight, but it's not one for the ages. And then there's some side stories. What can I say? The main story has good art. I do. I like the art here for the main story quite a bit. So I'll give him a lot of credit there, which was, I believe, Ed McGuinness, I think, did the art for the first story. And the Goblin's back, so we got that. That's sort of nice to see the villain back. There's some alternate covers that are pretty good for this one, too. But, what can I say? There's an issue on her here going along too, like something's wrong with Peter Parker. What is it? We need to see. It's really nothing special, and this, just like the side stories, really nothing special here. If you haven't been reading Spider-Man, this is not a jumping on point. I just can't see it. I can't recommend it for that. It's just okay. And speaking of just okay, let's talk about Nightwing issue 114, where 177 out of 197 liked it with a 3.9 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. Tom Taylor has been writing this with artist Bruno Redondo. And it says the Eisner Award-winning team, which who gives a crap at this point? I think they give an Eisner for anybody that can put two words together, but it is what it is. We have a story here with Nightwing. The culmination of heartless sabotage on Nightwing reaches its dramatic climax when Nightwing loses his ability to leap, impeding on his duties to be the superhero we love. What's going on there? Only time will tell. There is decent art in this. It's a decent story. The pacing for the main story has been slow. It really has. They've been really dragging this out. I figure Tom Taylor, as usual, will find a way to continue to mess things up, and he'll mess this up too. I gave it a 7 because really that's all it is a mid-tier book. And I think Nightwing deserves better, but hey, it seems to be selling pretty well. What are your thoughts? Is this a mid-tier book? Am I being too hard on it? I really would like to know, because sometimes people go, man, you grade too hard. But remember, most books are going to fall on the average, henceforth why it's called average. It takes something better than average or worse than average to vary from that. And let's talk about the next one then. Speaking of average, it's Green Lantern War Journal number 9. 47 out of 50 liked it with a 3.8 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. The writer's Philip Kennedy Johnson, the artist is Montos. Really, I found this book to be just okay, and I gave it a 7. Yeah, the secret of John Stewart's mission has been revealed, and I'm going to say it's a little overly convoluted. When you need a 2-page spread with a whole bunch getting into the background history and things, I think you could have done it in a more dynamic and interesting way. And that's one of the reasons I downgraded a little bit. I thought it had a really slow start in this issue. All right, I know they're trying to build up and give more information about the Dark Star background, if you will, about all that stuff. But I just think it was a little too slow. It's decent art. The pacing, once again, too slow. It's a decent issue, but nothing that would attract a new reader. If I seen this, the cover wouldn't make me go, oh, this is fantastic. It's just okay. The art was just okay. And the pacing, I think, was too slow to grab new readers. But, once again, my thoughts, not yours. The next one I want to talk about is one that is better than I was expecting, and that's Superman issue number 14. 171 out of 175 liked it with a 4.2 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. And I gave it a 7.5. Yeah, the writer Joshua Williamson, I think, is doing a good job. It's same with the artist Rafa Sandoval. I honestly, with this House of Brainiac connection story thing, did not expect much from it. And matter of fact, almost decided to not even bother with it, but I decided to first give it a chance. And I'm glad I did, because I've actually been enjoying the story. And I will say, if you went to a comic shop and you've seen this cover, the main cover, I think this would attract attention to buy it. Matter of fact, I think it's the best cover out of all the covers that are available. It's got Lobo and Superman going at it in a good fight. I think it's a very attractive cover to make somebody want to read it. It says, anyway, Superman and Lobo fight. The partnership was shaky at best, but now it has exploded. Lobo has betrayed Superman, and it's now on. Yep, it's on. Even if they stop punching each other long enough to save the day, it's too late. Brainiac has what he needs, and boy, does he ever, because the Brainiac Queen is alive. It is a cool cover, good art, good action in this issue, the good story progression as well, as one of the things I fear to be a long drawn-out waste of time, but I've been enjoying it. This is a solid issue. I give it, once again, a 7.5. If you're a Superman fan, I think you should be getting this. Matter of fact, I'm going to go out as far as say get the House of Brainiac issues. For the most part, most of them have been solid and a worthwhile read. Speaking of another worthwhile read, the last one I want to talk about today is Batman Superman World's Finest, number 27. 127 out of 134 liked it with a 4.3 average rating. Yeah, we have Mark Waid writing it, and artist is Dan Mora. Once again, just to be upfront, I'm not a Waid fan, so I think this should say a lot. Once again, 127 out of 134 liked it with a 4.3 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave it a 7.4. That's above average. Yeah, we have the whole imps thing, with the Batmite and all that, which I'm not a fan of those characters. But we have Mixie and Batmite flee to the dreaded Doommite because it's kicking all kinds of butt and it has to save Batman and Superman. It's getting a little convoluted, but it is an interesting story with a really weird dynamic. It just works for this series. This throwback style tends to work. It's really cool. The first page, I'm going to say, the first page is definitely really cool. It got me there. Anybody at Batman animated series fan should recognize that. And we discover who on earth is DC's mightiest hero. And it's an interesting take, an interesting spin. Decent art. It is really an odd story. I cannot stress that much enough. This is just an odd story, but for some reason, it's enjoyable and it works. Well, that's what I read. And if you want me to read some other things, please let me know, because I always like other ideas. I can't guarantee I can get to them because I have only so much time in a day. There's a few more I want to try to tackle, I think, this week as well that I haven't gotten to, like Void Rivals, I think is what one's called. Yes, Void Rivals. I haven't been reading that. I might dive into there and see what I've been missing, as well as some others. They were always fun. And by the way, make sure you check out some other comic book reviewers and things too. I'm going to show one right here. Okay, definitely one to check out. Check out his channel. He's got an interesting take on things. I love it, even if it doesn't run right with my views. And anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank these people, because without them, this would not be possible. They continue to support this channel and have for a long time. I really mean it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've been nothing but amazing and helpful. If you want to help out the channel too, I already told you ways you could do it, so I hope you do. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Until next time, keep it frugal.